hello. I'll do another video request, this one's from Sunther Wolfson. He wrote lots of stuff, so I'll read really quickly. He goes, Cowpounds, I just finished your website. You talk about how politicians are to blame for individuals' need to take responsibility for our individual choices, like which corporations we support by buying their stuff. I realize I am paraphrasing badly here, but I think it is the essence of what you have said in the paragraph on your website about individuals, corporations, politicians. I agree with you on several points. Yes, we have individuals in the USA have dropped the ball big time when it comes to where our support goes, and also by not paying attention to politicians and voting the same chumps in over and over again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and wonder why things don't get better. I disagree with you, though, that we should only blame the politicians when it's some, not all, of the corporations, typically multinationals and our energy companies, that basically control politicians and the system with large amounts of cash. Yes, folks, we in America do not have the real choices. The politicians, are pre-selected by the money power elite. FDR used to call this the money trust. But be that it as it may, yes, we the people are at least part of the problem by voting in these same yahoos and by not getting something going that will limit the influence that corporations can, and many times do, have on our whole entire system. They, the politicians, are pre-selected by the money power elite. FDR used to call this money trust. Did I just read that the whole again? And finally, boycotts and products in modern day America. Although we should be paying attention and watching who, where, what we vote for with our money, most people are so busy just trying to make it that a boycott would not even get off the ground in the USA these days. Plus, I don't know if people are that together on things as we were, although I was a child then in the 60s. Still, there are things that can do, and a personal avoidance of certain companies can happen on an individual basis and then add up all the individuals. Voila! And before somebody thinks I'm a commie hippie, I'm not. My grandparents were from the South. My dad was a Marine. I was a Navy. My foster dad was in the Army in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. Well, I come from a lot of angry, gun-toting, meat-eating folks. Well, there were a few hippies and the bikers in the family, too. Video request. According to your observations and travels as of late, what are your feelings towards the current state of the nation these days, especially economically? That would be interesting to get your take on that. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, he says that, yeah, we've got bad politicians because we got the money dudes paying for all of their ads, which get them voted and get them in, and now we're paying more and more for the elections every year. I think the last presidential election was like $1 trillion or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah, now our politicians are, making the rich richer since 1980. Since like 78, we changed usury laws so that credit cards could, there was no cap on how much interest you could charge on the cards, and then they made corporations could be considered individuals, people, which gave them rights to go in and vote and go to town hall meetings and stuff, and with their lobbyist and representing the corporation, and got the rich even richer. The productivity of America kept going up, but the wealth discrepancy changed a lot. I think the rich top 1% or something is, I can't remember which ones, but they're 20% richer than everybody else than they were in the 70s. So he wants to know what my take on the economy in America is these days. And he said something else that, he said stuff he doesn't agree with me, that it should be I said blame all the politicians. I don't know if I said that, but I wouldn't say, only blame the politicians. Blame business people who make bad decisions and take advantage of the laws, especially when they buy the politicians and then tell them to do the wrong thing that screws up the country. Yeah, blame those guys big time. But I'd blame the politicians the most because it's their job to, to look after the people. But state of the nation, according to me, I think the state of the nation is great. State of the nation, like economically, we're doing not as well. People have to work more to survive. More and more people in the family have to work. It takes longer to get a house, all this stuff. Environmentally, we're not doing very well, yada, yada. But if you're going to judge it by the most important factor, the consciousness of the people, I would say this stuff's doing great. I think the consciousness of the people in America is doing really well. You could point to somebody like Fox News who's up there, yapping away, calling whistleblowers traitors and saying they need to get tortured to death, and there's this a lot of just vile rhetoric on conservative side on Fox News. I think they even, like in Texas, they just made a new abortion law, and we're going backwards in some cases, but I think that's kind of like, I've mentioned this before, it's kind of like a like the screaming, dying vampire, people who are really fear-based, they look around and they see a dude with a beard and they say, oh no, stoner hippie, he's going to destroy the society. Look around and see a dude from India and they go, oh no, terrorizer, he's going to, blow up the plane and all this kind of stuff. And just really simple-minded people, I love Christians and stuff, but I mean like a fundamentalist Christian, like somebody who thinks the world was created 6,000 years ago and everything that their pastor told them in the Bible that was true was written by God, and so therefore, gay people are going to burn in hell forever and all this kind of stuff. I think they're having their last hurrah right now, so they're screaming the loudest. They're the screaming vampire right now, and they're just kind of they're having their last flame up. Like Bill O'Reilly, he's an old geezer now. He's like the leader of all these angry, hate-filled people, neocon, crazy people. The average age of his viewer is 72 years old. So these are people who are retiring now and getting out of power. And then their voices are gonna get snuffed out in about 10 years when they die. So. 10 or 20 years. So, we're just seeing the last of it, man. It's the very last of it. It's the last of the old guard. We're right around the corner to getting a new generation of people in there who have more open minds. It's kind of like hippieism part 2. A hippie, according to Wikipedia and common knowledge, is somebody who, started up in the late 60s. It's somebody who just has an open mind and interested in the whole world, and all the different world religions, and just kind of integrating it into one smorgasbord, it's like America, America part 2, the great melting pot. Only now, great melting pot, with actual education, So then hippieism part 3, which I would, hippieism part 1, founding of America, hippieism part 2, 60s, hippieism part 3, is open-mindedness, and people actually believing in stuff because it makes sense, rather than because you were told to believe it, believing in reincarnation because it makes sense instead of believing in either you go to hell or heaven or hell and all this yada yada yada. So I think people are about to wake up, and so I think that's the most important criteria, because we control our world. So if we have our heads in the right places, the world's going to go in the right place. So I think everybody's waking up and their brains are working right, and we got the open mind, and we have faith, and we're not fear-based and trying to throw everybody in jail and attack all the countries and all this kind of stuff. That's in a good place. That's getting, that is getting popular really fast. I watch the Young Turks. Those guys are politically, they're brilliant. Really great news channel. It's the great example of a news channel that isn't beholden to anybody, you know, and they say stuff that actually makes sense, and it's not like watching these people these mindless people just doing talking points, and they're getting really popular, dude. Like they hit a million subscribers last month, and now they're like 1,116,000 subscribers. Rush Limbaugh is like just about to get fired from all of his radio shows. He's just going to be like another, you know, podunk radio host pretty soon. And Sean Hannity, too. Fox News has been going down. The Republicans lost the last two presidential elections, and they're losing, you know, local elections more and more, and losing their power and having a crisis. And what I see is just this huge change of the power. People, younger people, and people who are just basically smarter, getting more popular, and then those crazy people just loud screaming and becoming more and more obvious that what they say is just nonsense. And it's just turning into a joke, like Fox News. I was watching Young Turks, and they had some guy who wrote a book about Jesus, and he was a, you know, PhD in all the religions, but he happened to be Muslim, and so they got him on Fox News. And they're like, "How dare you write a book about Jesus if you're Muslim?" And it's like, dude, it's just my religion. I'm happen to be a Muslim because that's my heritage, but I'm a scholar. They didn't get it, and just stuff like that. I love watching Young Turks for. They find this stuff and they just make fun of them. It's really funny. But but you said especially economically. Well, you know, the exciting thing is that we waste so much money, like the way that we're doing it now. $1 trillion on the last presidential election, $40 billion a year on the war on drugs, 20% of our budget on defense, on war, you know, subsidizing millions and millions and millions of dollars on the cattle industry, and then Monsanto is well, I don't know if that's really what I have to talk to you about right now, but. We waste a lot of money. We waste a whole bunch of money. Oh yeah, the big multinational corporations. They spent most of their budget is spent on lobbyists for their politicians. Now, after saying all that kind of stuff, you could say, "Oh no, the State of the Union is bad." But if you think that the people have brains are in the right place and they're figuring this stuff out and talking about it. Because you see it on YouTube. People talk about this stuff, man. It's all over written on YouTube. Oh, yeah, the politicians, they're just beholden to the lobbyists and the big companies. You know, and then you turn on, like, Fox News or, you know, CNN and stuff, and they don't really talk about that. It's all hunky-dory to them. But the TV share is going away and the internet share is coming up. So, anyways, if you look at all the money that we waste... oh, yeah, I didn't even mention the $40 million a year we use on the war on drugs. And then, you know, 500,000 people in prison for marijuana, all this kind of stuff. We waste a obscene amount of money. And then, of course, all the rich people get even richer. Like Goldman Sachs doing all these scams that are getting exposed. Young Turks was talking about this one where Goldman Sachs was just buying up silver and then, like, putting it in different warehouses, moving them around. Has to do with some law loophole, and then because of that, they could sell it for like to people who ordered it like a year and a half ago. Like they actually need it, but they hold on to it. They can sell it for exorbitantly amount of money, and they're getting like rich, like billions and billions of dollars off of that. Anyways, and that's just the examples off the top of my head. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but with all the money that we waste, the obscene amount of money that we waste, all we have to, if we were to spend that money right. Actually helping people, you know, like dropping computers onto North Korea and Iran in Palestine instead of bombs, and letting all those hippies free, and letting them live out the rest of their lives in freedom after spending 10, 20 years in prison. And not spending so much money on all this kind of stuff. Oh my God, imagine how affluent we could be. How people would only have to work a few hours a day and then they could go and have fun the rest of the time, and we could travel around. We could set up, use that money to set up renewable energy so that people could have electric cars and go on vacation wherever they want, whenever they want. Go up in the mountains camping all the time. I mean, it'd be fun. It'd be awesome. And then, of course, all the medical breakthroughs we're about to have, where we can replace organs and let us live for hundreds of years and turn that into a whole new industry. I mean, there's plenty of new industries that can come around. New media industries, tourism industries, medical, everything. We don't have to spend the money on, throwing people in jail for saying poopy. Like the FCC, I think it's $40 billion a year we use to spend on that too. And, oh my God, utopia right around the corner. All we have to do is spend the money in the right place, and va-voom, we're there. So, and all we have to do for that is wait another 10 years for these old geezers to die, or to retire anyways. And then another 10 years after that for them to just die. And then we get our world. We get our world. Because I don't think the new generation, people my age who are just about to get in power, they're not crazy, dude. They're smart. I mean, the crazy ones are smarter than the crazy people 30 years older than me. It's a lot easier to relate to them. I think we're finally at the generation that isn't going to sell out, and go into some pessimistic, greedy, selfish, mindset that fucks the world. They're not going to be so greedy for money, and they'll just be, all you need is the stuff right in front of you, and then you're kicking it. So the state of the nation right now is amazing, and not just the nation, but the world, man. Arab Spring, yeah, sure, they're killing each other and having wars, but if Egypt and Syria and these guys continue to kill each other like this, like how much they are right now, and bombing each other until their cities are just a pile of rocks, they're gonna crack. They're eventually gonna crack. And wars don't last more than 5 or 6 years. If you look in history, no war has ever lasted more than that, like continuously. World War I, World War II, 6 years. Civil War, 5, 6 years. After that long, people just they give up. Both sides give up, and they're like, all right, we're done, and then they have peace. So, in a way, all this crazy violence in Syria and Egypt is actually a good thing, because it's like that last flame up of all the fighting and the violence until probably another 3 or 4 years. They're all going to raise that white flag and go, you know what, we want to just have fun like the Americans. Let's just chill the fuck out. And it'll all be good. They'll all be friends. And so, yeah, there's this huge awakening. I can see awakening right now. All the Ancient Alien television shows are all over. You turn it on, History Channel, that's like the main topic people are getting into. Legalization of marijuana. Hopefully by the beginning of the year, the Nazis will allow the real people to actually go into the stores and buy weed if they want to. So when that happens, oh my God, I can't wait when that happens. I'm going to go in and buy weed and just be like, holy shit, what's that? Oh my God. And just remember how it was when I was in high school, and it was like, oh my God, could you imagine, And yeah, so the Nazis, they're dying. Bye-bye, Nazi. Yeah, what do I mean by Nazi? Well, Nazis in Germany were people who, they'd throw the Jews in jail just because they were Jews, So somebody who would want to throw a stoner in jail just because they're a stoner. That's what I mean. Somebody who wants to throw somebody in jail just because they're not like them. That's a Nazi. According to me. So, anyways, Nazis are going bye-bye. Bye-bye, Nazi. Exciting. Very exciting and just to watch all of the craziness get exposed. And it's going to get even, better. Like Fox News. They're just going to turn into a joke. Like, pretty soon, Fox News is just going to be like the crazy people. You know, and they'll just get smaller and smaller, and it'll be like the little crazy people over there screaming and yelling, and and they'll keep going, they'll keep doing their thing and yapping away, but nobody will pay attention to them. You'll mention one of the great hosts on the Five or whatever, and nobody will have heard of the guy. Like, I don't know who he is. His salary will be like like $30,000 a year or something. So, yeah, man. It's just the ridiculousness is just getting exposed, and all over. For example, I went into, this is an abstract example, but I went into King Soopers a couple of weeks ago, and I saw Bill O'Reilly. He'd written a book called JFK Assassination. Bill O'Reilly and some other dude, and I guess it's some novel about JFK, the fictional novel about JFK assassination. I guess it's because he doesn't believe it was actually assassinated, but he wrote a book about it just because people think that it was, to kind of like make fun of the people who did. And it's the book for sale in King Soopers, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's like got somebody else to fucking ghostwrite a book for him or something like that, and now he's selling it to make a bunch of money because they've got some deal with King Soopers or whatever, and this is just ridiculous. And I was like, this ain't gonna be happening in about 10 years. Like, in 10 years, the people who have the book out here, it'll be like somebody progressive, actually exposing that it really was an assassination, So it's like the twilight. We're in the twilight of the craziness right now, I think. Because I'm just watching all of this alternative viewpoints just come up, get more and more popular, and get more and more hits, more and more videos, more and more people believe in that stuff, and less with the fear-based money, spending money like you're a drunken sailor, go bomb everybody bullshit. The state of the nation is amazing. People are realizing that, Obama is just another one of these minions, and he puts on the act, and so the next president we get is going to be like a real person, somebody who actually shows emotion, isn't just like Mr. Nice Guy who fuck. When I first saw Obama, I was like, awesome. I'm sure everybody was, but now they look at him and it's like, oh my god, like Manchurian candidates really do exist. Maybe this guy gets hypnotized every night or something, all the crazy shit that he does politically with the raiding pot marijuana dispensaries all over Washington to, prosecuting, going after these whistleblowers, yada, 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 you know what I mean? So, but people are starting to realize it, and black people too, so the next presidential election is going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot different from the last one, man. I'm telling you, the third party guy is going to be up there in the front runner position in the next presidential election. History happens fast, dude. History happens fast. Weed's legal now. 2012 is when we legalized weed recreationally in America. 2012. So imagine trying to tell somebody that, in 2009 or something. I remember the guy in the head of LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, back in 2006. He's like, yeah, by 2008 it'll be legal. And, it didn't happen until 2012. But, it happens, dude. It happens, and it's going to happen. And if it's not next presidential election, it damn well will be the one after that by 2020. So, yeah, dude, the state of the nation is rocking, dude. Especially when they make the weed recreationally legal and people can smoke it. It's going to have a magical, mind-opening effect. And all we need, man, we're not that far. All we need, it's kind of like that 100 monkey thing. All we need is for the common person to just all of a sudden be like, oh my God. It's just a big elephant. The world's just a big elephant, and all the different religions and all the different people are all right in their own little way. You know what I mean by the elephant? The 5 blind men around the elephant, and one guy grabbing the tail saying, "Oh, it's a rope." It's a broom, and the other guy grabs the trunk and says, "No, it's a hose." Then the guy grabs the feet and says it's a tree, and the guy touches his side and says it's a wall, and then the guy hits touches the, the horns and says, "Oh no, it's a tree or something," and then the guy who hits the ear says it's a fan, and then, but they're all blind and they're all fighting each other. We're about to wake up and go, "Oh my God, oh whoa, it's an elephant!" Like it's all true. Everybody's right. Those Iranian people love their kids too, and they like having sex, and it's just they were just hoodwinked and led astray by their greedy leaders, just like we were, and we all want to have world peace, and it's all cool, and yay, big old party now, like, and we're not that far away from it, dude. Like pretty soon, people are gonna be like smoking weed and being all high, "Hey, what's up?" And then they're not gonna be some like fucking troll in the background, "Douchebag, faggot, loser, I hate you, stoner loser," I mean, it'll be like fucking chill. People just loving everybody and being cool. Somebody will be able to walk into a bar with long hair and not get arrested and shit, I mean, well, I guess we're already past that, but, everything, dude, it's going to get good real fast, real fast. I'm excited. State of the Nation is, from a 1 to 10, it's a 10, dude. Stuff's changing, man. People getting smart. So, anyways, that's that. Peace out.